Okay. Oh, you got to press the, make sure you press the button on the microphones.
Oh, Larry Gerstein. Don Weber,
Yes.
Adrian Hartman,
Here.
Ryan Weinstock,
Present.
and I'm Ted Sisbro.
Yes, sir.
Can you read the public hearing notice?
Absolutely. The Zoning Board of Adjustment of the City of Olivet, Missouri will hold a public hearing on Thursday, October 28th, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. Central Time. The meeting will be conducted in person and via Zoom webinar. A link was available on the city's website at www.olivetmo.com. The meeting is regarding to the following petition. You're only hearing one petition tonight. The petitioner is Jeff Day with Jeff Day and Associates LLC. I believe a partner will be attending on his behalf. The property's address is 29 Crabapple Court. The property owner of record, according to St. Louis County, is Janet Mueller. The zoning of the property is SR Single Family Residential District. The appeal request. The request is for a 7.36-foot variance to permit a residential addition within 16.64 feet from the rear of a rear yard setback. And Don, I think on your agenda, you may have a typo there. The variance request, the setback from the rear yard would be 16.64 feet. A 24-foot rear yard setback is what is required by code. The code section is section 400-260, yard and rear yard and setback requirements under the SR Single Family Residential District. Subparagraph C, which is regarding rear yard setbacks, each interior lot shall provide a minimum rear yard setback of 20% of the lot depth. No lot shall provide a rear yard setback less than 20 feet. The above referenced petition is available for public view through the city of Olivet here at the Olivet City Center at 1140 Dealman Road, Olivet, Missouri 63132, and was made available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:00 p.m. and online at www.olivetmo.com. The affidavit of publication was on October 13th, 2021, in which this was posted in the St. Louis County. Let's just go over real quickly on the meeting process since Mr. Weinstock's in. The procedures is we're going to be conducting both in a live and virtual meeting. The virtual meetings we're in our infancy stage of doing these and we're getting better. So we appreciate your patience on these. This is for the Zoning Board of Adjustment regarding procedures to participate Zoom. You will have an opportunity for public comments prior to the board voting. We ask that you raise your hands for recognition and we'll transfer you over as a panelist at the chair's request. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, except for those that are part of the petition application. When you're speaking, please note your name and address. The city urges you to have your video on when you speak. All speakers that will speak before this board must be sworn in. Public comments may be submitted in writing and read aloud by staff. And again, we ask for some patience because there may be a short delay in the live stream or recognizing any hands that are up for comment. The petitioner and the presentations, just an overview of how the process works. All reports and plans are accessible via the link on the agenda. Staff will speak first and provide a brief overview and the code sections. Applicants will address staff comments and commission's questions, and then all votes will be conducted as roll call votes. Again, this is the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and the board's jurisdiction is to hear when there are errors in the interpretation of the code, to interpret the provisions of the boundaries of our zoning map, to permit a public service corporation or utility when necessary, and to permit the reconstruction of a non-conforming structure that may be destroyed or partially destroyed by fire or other act. And finally, to grant relief to the strict application of the zoning ordinance to a specific piece of property by issuing a area and use variance as allowed within the code provisions. These provisions for area variances is that the property should have a unique condition, one not typically found in the same district, relating to its width, depth, shape, to its topography or other exceptional circumstances that are not created by the owner or the applicant. And that strict application of the code would create practical difficulties as distinguished from a mere inconvenience, which would deprive the owner of the reasonable use of the property, and that the variance would not unreasonably affect adjacent properties. The variance would observe the spirit of the zoning ordinance, and the variance would satisfy additional variance criteria as authorized by the board, and that's for the protection of light, health, safety, and public welfare. Again, just a quick review of the process or the procedures. Each appeal is heard separately. The public hearing consists of presentations, first by staff, then the applicant, then public comments. After that, the board will deliberate. They will make a motion for the vote, and all testimony or everybody that speaks before the board is sworn testament, meaning that you're going to be sworn in as part of the record. Chairman, all said, be glad to answer any specific questions that the board may have. If not, we're ready. All right. At this point, Chairman, again, the appeal request is for 29 Crabapple Court, just noted as noted in the public hearing notice that we just read prior. And Chairman, if I can get sworn in, then I'll go ahead and start with the staff presentation. I do. Again, the appeal request is regarding a section in the code 400-260 that establishes the yard and setback requirements, specifically a subparagraph C that establishes the rear yard setback in the city's SR single family residential district. And that paragraph notes that each interior lot shall provide a minimum rear yard setback of 20% of the lot depth. And no lot shall provide a rear yard setback less than 20 feet. By the city adopting a rear yard setback regulation based on a percentage, it takes into account the various lot depths that we have throughout the community. So smaller lots would have a smaller lot depth, where larger lots will have a larger rear yard setback or depth in there. But in no case, a decision has been made by the city that represents our community values. Should a rear yard setback be less than 20 feet, regardless of what the depth of the lot is. The property in question is zoned SR single family residential. The purpose for the SR, what we call the SR district, is to provide for the construction and maintain the detached single family residences throughout our community. The location of 29 Crabapple Court is on in the Crabapple Court subdivision off a street called Crabapple Court. It's on the north side of the property. The property does back up to commercial property along the Olive Boulevard corridor. As you can see, the location map here is Crabapple Court. Ingo is one of our primary residential thoroughfares off of Dealman. This property is just west of Dealman and Ingo, and of course, north of Ingo. Here's an aerial view of the property. It's a single family, one-story residential property with an attached two-car garage located here. And you can see the commercial property immediately behind the parcel. Here's some aerial views of the subject property. You can see the side entry garage here viewing to the west. Viewing to the east, you can see the projection of this atrium area here. The rear yard property is primarily flat. There are no unique topographical conditions that are illustrated either in the plans that have been submitted or visually on the property grounds. There is a retaining wall that runs along the north lot line that is part of the residential properties that are off of Olive to the north of this parcel. Again, the specific appeal request is regarding 400-260C. It's a yard and setback requirements, subparagraph C, which establish rear yard setbacks. It varies because they're calculated based on a percentage, 20% of the lot depth, but in no case the council has adopted or established that should it be less than 20 feet. So when you apply it to 29 Crabapple Court based on the plans that were submitted, the lot has a depth of 120 feet. If you calculate the 120 feet times 20%, it would require a 24-foot rear yard setback. The petitioner has submitted a proposed plan to add a additional garage to the rear of the property. You can see it here in that hash marked area. Here, that garage contains some additional improvements. I believe there's a vanity and a woodwork area. And then this red line here, the solid red line represents the 24-foot rear yard setback marker. You can see that the addition goes further north, approximately 16 feet from the rear property line. The hash red line represents the no less than 20-foot marker for reference. This is the Crabapple Court subdivision. It consists of several properties straight off of one road called Crabapple Court. They all kind of run around in a U shape, and then they have a cul-de-sac that extends on the eastern side. Of these properties, the property at 29 Crabapple and its adjacent neighbors on the north side of the road all have 120 foot lot depth. The properties immediately across the street are even shallower. They have a 117 foot lot depth. The properties on the western side of that subdivision are even more shallower. They have an 86 foot lot depth. And then the properties to the east kind of vary, with the minimum being about 120 feet. And again, our rear yard setbacks in our ordinance takes into account the various depths and therefore applies a percentage as opposed to being a flat number. But in no case should it ever be less than 20 feet. This property is has a buildable area that's about 81 feet wide and about 61 feet deep. What is the buildable area? Well, that is when you take away the front yard setback, the side yard setbacks, and the rear yard setbacks. There's an area that you can build that's about 81 feet wide, 61 feet deep. So basically that's 4,941 square feet of buildable area on the property grounds. The existing home is 2,291 square feet. So there is still 2,650 square feet of buildable area to place an addition or expand this house within code. County records indicate that this is the existing layout of the home, with A representing the main portion of the house, B patio area, and C the existing 2-car masonry garage. It's about 525 square feet. So given that the petition was submitted with the 16-foot rear yard setback, it was denied by staff. And it does require what we call our planning and community design review, but the commission cannot review a design that is inconsistent with code, and therefore the petitioners chose to appeal and request to go before the zoning board of adjustments, requesting relief or variance from the required rear yard setback to allow a house 16.64, or in addition 16.64 feet from the rear yard setback. In this, the findings that staff will note that these are specifics is that the property zone SR, single family residential. The lot's legally known as Lot 29 of the Crabapple Court subdivision. The home was built in 1956. Roughly the lot was recorded around the same time. The current owner has lived in this home or residence since 1999. This is a legal lot of record, even though the lot may not comply with the minimum SR dimensional requirements. It's a legal lot of record, and that's why the city uses a percentage to account for setbacks. So it is proportionally addresses the different variety of lot sizes that we have throughout our community. The lot is considered non-conforming because it has 120 foot depth in there, but it's legal. Section 400-260 yard and setback requirements vary rear yard setbacks based on the proportion of the lot depth, as it was noted, but in no case shall a rear yard setback be less than 20 feet. There are 6 lots on the same side of the street that have similar setbacks. There are 6 lots across the street that have lesser setbacks, approximately 117 feet. The property is improved, so it's a buildable, it's a viable, usable property with an existing 2-car side entry garage. There are no unique visible conditions with the subject property. It appears it's flat, there's no natural features, and it's rectangular based on the site information that was provided by the petitioner. It's staff's professional opinion that the issue is a design issue, not necessarily a hardship issue as defined by code. Again, this lot is similar to neighboring lots along the same side of the street. It's actually deeper than lots across the street. There is buildable area on the property in there, and the design in itself is causing the rear yard setback issue. Chairman, I'd be glad to answer any specific questions. Again, it's the jurisdiction of the board to hear there's an error in terms of the code's interpretation, to interpret provisions of the zoning map, to allow public service utilities, to permit the reconstruction of a non-conforming building, and then more importantly, an area variance is to grant relief from the strict application of the zoning ordinance to a specific piece of property by issuing an area or use variance as allowed herein. That herein is that the property has to have unique conditions, one not typically found in the same zoning district, whether it's the width, depth, shape, topography, or some other unique exceptional circumstance that is not created by the owner or the applicant, that the strict application would result in practical difficulties as distinguished from a mere inconvenience, which would deprive the owner from reasonable use of the property, that the variance would not unnecessarily affect adjacent properties, that it would observe the spirit and intent of the city's zoning ordinance, and that it would satisfy the additional variance criteria under subsection 400-1650 subparagraph C, which is about maintaining light, air, ensuring the safety and general welfare of the city of Olivet. And lastly, Chairman, if I can enter a couple of items for the record, as these are entered as exhibits. One is the initial application for the site plan and community design review that dates back to April 7th, 2021. The original denial letter that was emailed at date July 29th, 2021. The revised building plans that are before you today, these are dated August 25th, 2021. The public hearing notice, the affidavit of publication, which was on the St. Louis County and on October 13th, 2021. The posting and the listing of address of properties that were notified within 185 feet. The staff report dated October 28th, 2021, including attachments, this PowerPoint presentation, and the City of Olivet Code of Ordinances, including Chapter 400 zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of Olivet.
So we've seen this before.
You've seen a variation.
What's different?
The design, the addition has been redesigned and reduced. I believe the previous edition provided, I think, 17. Let's see, 17. I think the previous edition was 11 feet from the rear yard, from the rear lot line, excuse me. $16.64. Mm-hmm.
Is that a 1-car or 2-car garage?
It is a designed the way the design base, it looks I would call it like a one oversized car garage. I'm not sure if you can get two vehicles in there with that width. I mean, in most cases, a two-car garage at a minimum is going to be about 20 feet wide, plus or minus a foot. So this is 22 feet in width. But I think the intent is that it's a one vehicle.
I don't know what the difference is.
And again, I didn't reference it back to the previous application because at that point that the board found that there was no hardship. And I think that would impose that, again, there's no hardship if we utilize the findings from the previous application. This is a whole new application. So
Anybody have questions?
that's correct. And just to note, and Brian, when you do speak, if you can press the talk button, but Mr. Weinstock had asked if the uses for the addition were more than just a garage, and I indicated yes. On the plans, it does illustrate that there is a woodworking room and a powder room. Okay, Chairman. So I have 3 attendees. I'm going to promote Vihar Prishalarov. And then I also have representatives of the owner. So Brandon Mueller and Janet Mueller, I'm going to bring you up as panelists also. Vihar is already set. And again, if you're going to speak before the board, well, we do need to have you sworn in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
ready to swear in.
We can see you. I also have Brandon.
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, and then and I thought I had Ms. Mueller on here too. Bear with
Yeah, she's on. She's working on, she's trying to get it set right now.
Who's going to speak first? I got to swear him in.
I need to be sworn in.
Yes. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board and this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you state your name and address? You state your name and address.
My name is Vihar Cholarov. My address is 14311 Manchester Road, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why don't we just go in, you could speak first, and we'll swear the Brandon in after. If you'd like to go ahead and state your, why you're here. Or you can go ahead and proceed.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear what was said, so there was a lot said so far, and it is true that this lot is not a conforming 150 feet deep lot. It is 120 feet. And if it was 150 feet, the 20% would bring it down to 120 feet. So we wouldn't even be having this conversation, we'd be able to build this addition. Now, the reason for the addition is that a member of the family had a stroke and had to have his leg amputated. Therefore, this is the hardship we're claiming. And the addition is for a specialty vehicle, which needs to fit in that garage. It's not for a two-car garage. It has a wheelchair platform that comes down, and it needs circulation space around so you can get off that platform. The platform is 55.5 inches, and then you need a 60-inch turning radius for the wheelchair. And this is the minimum we could get for that vehicle to be accommodated and the space to actually be usable. We did try, and Carlos knows, but we had an error with the wheelchair platform. We had it, so we had to increase the size of the width. The 22.6 came from this turning radius that we need to be able to get off the wheelchair platform and use the space.
The existing two-car garage will not accommodate this vehicle?
No, it is tall. The door needs to be 11 foot tall to accommodate the vehicle. The existing is like 7, 8 foot tall.
If the woodworking and shop and the powder room were removed, where does that
That
put?
wouldn't affect, it wouldn't affect anything.
Is
It's
there-
the depth we need. The 22.6 is what we need to be able to circulate, to get off of the wheelchair platform and to make a turn, the turning radius for the wheelchair.
Anything else?
That is it from me.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Who wants to speak next?
I will, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We
Do
need
you
to
swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead.
Can you please state? Can
Thank you, guys, and appreciate your time. I think as Carlos knows,
Brandon, before you continue, if you can please state your full name and address. I have you on mute right now. All right, 1 second. This meeting is being recorded, so I do need to.
Your name and address.
You're muted.
I'm getting it right now. All right, you're set.
okay. It's Brandon Bueller. My address is 643 Highview Circle Drive, Baldwin, Missouri.
Go ahead.
So as we've discussed before, I think some of the members were on our previous meeting during the time where we were trying to do this build out. Our original idea was to use the existing garage for space for other activities for Victor, and to allow this new garage to act as not only the garage that we need to house the wheelchair van, but an additional space to store the other vehicle, which we currently cannot because of numerous reasons that probably aren't of concern. But because we understood during our last meeting that one of the main concerns about the variance was it being excessive because we didn't necessarily need to store both the vehicles in the new garage because we had the existing garage. we set out to try and eliminate the use for a second vehicle at all, and to try and keep the design solely for the space that we needed for the wheelchair van. The additional pieces that are there, the woodworking area, that extra sort of area, and the washroom really are just being added to this plan because they don't add any depth to the design at all. Just allowing us to take advantage of, you know, the cost and the expense of going through this to add some more functionality to the home overall. But the primary concern here is the use of the van so that there's enough space, and we've got it down to literally down to the inch of how much space you need to be able to pull the van into the garage, exit the van, use the wheelchair lift so the wheelchair lift can be, so the wheelchair can operate and then exit the lift completely. This way, it's not necessary for Victor to enter and exit the van in intermittent weather or those sort of things, causing damage to the chair and, you know, potential damage to the vehicle's lift and all those sorts of things, but also not, you know, having to be out in the rain or snow or other weather while you're using it. We certainly understand the rules of, you know, this, and we've tried to respect as much as possible. I don't know that we're putting any sort of distress on the commercial property behind us. I don't think it's affects them in any way. And in the back right corner of the lot, there are utilities, which there's an easement for, which is why we cannot put the garage just, you know, in line with where the current driveway is. So we had to put it on, you know, towards a side entrance, which really we didn't prefer to do. It's just kind of necessary because of the way that the lot next to us joins, and then also the easement that's necessary for Ameren to get to the electrical pole that's there in the back corner. We've tried very hard to make it as small as we possibly can to make it functional and also worth the, you know, the investment, and to protect the, you know, the investment that we made in this vehicle, so we can enjoy it and Victor can make the best out of a not ideal situation that he's got to, you know, that he's got to live every single day. My mom's been in this house for, you know, over 20 years, and she doesn't want to move or go anywhere. So I've been trying my best to figure out a solution to let them enjoy their life in this house as much as they possibly can. So we'd ask with, you know, with any consideration that's possible, that we figure out a way to get this done, completed.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for Brandon?
Mom, you're muted if you wanted to speak.
There we go.
There you go.
Does that work now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you swear that the information you shall give to the board in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Also, I wanted to say that I also have Victor Bassman here with me.
Would you like to swear him in as well?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God?
I swear.
And can you both state your name and address, please?
Janet Miller, 29 Crabapple.
Victor Bassman, 29 Crabapple.
Thank you. You can go ahead and.
Oh, thank you. I truly appreciate our ability to all be together and review this plan, and for the consideration of just helping us make our lives more functional. Victor's been a ceramic artist all of his life, and so the current garage is his studio now. And we're just working hard to find solutions so that, we can have a place for everything. The additional place that I said was for woodworking. Yes, I would love an area to woodwork, but the fact of the matter is we have no storage, not much. And we need space to put things. We have a lot of equipment and so forth. And so not only, hopefully, eventually, maybe it could be a space where I can have a, do some kind of something that I enjoy. But we do need additional space for storing things. The wet room is important because if you do ceramics, you understand that, you need a wet place to do a lot of cleanup that, I really don't want to bring inside the house. So that's what those two additional areas are. It's very important that the van be able to fit easily into the new garage. I will have to back it in. I'm practicing, but Victor, his body does not tolerate extreme temperature, and so it's important that he not have to be out in the cold for any amount of time, as it is very taxing on his body. And so to be able to go from the house into the vehicle without having to wait outside in the rain or the cold, what have you, is just very important to us. So I thank you for listening and considering this and helping us make our home work for us and more functional.
Additionally, if I can put two cents in myself, since the meeting that we had a couple of months ago, we have invested a considerable amount of money in the improvement of the home in terms of electricity and heating, and are going to task for some other physical embellishments or the stresses that are occurring in the foundation, and addressing this as well. We feel very strongly that the value for the community and for the building and for the community improves itself, or we think we've improved the kind of environment we would live in and all of that. And that would be a summary at my end right now.
Thank you. Any questions the board members have from the applicants?
I have a question. The current garage, Ms. Mueller, is being used for what again?
Victor is a ceramic artist. He's been one his entire life. So we put a heat in the garage and new lighting so that he can work and do ceramics. It's like pottery. He sells his work. He's nationally known artist, and he would like to continue to produce art and have a warm, safe, comfortable environment to do so.
So the other vehicle will not be stored in a garage then?
Well, not right now. No, right now I don't have any place for my car, but we're continuing to try to figure out solutions.
This was why we originally designed it to, the original design we submitted a few months ago was designed to hold both vehicles because we've transitioned the space of the garage for the use of Vic's ceramic arts. So this time we'd just be parking her car in the driveway and being able to at least store the van and give Victor access in and out of the house to the van in the new garage.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, having no other questions, I'd like to close this meeting and talk amongst ourselves.
Chairman, if you can give me 1 second here so we can change.
Carlos?
1 second, sir.
All right,
Okay, you're all set.
so I'd like to hear from all the board members and what they have to think, to say about this. I did have one question for you. You made a comment earlier about them being able, that have plenty of buildable space on the property without requiring a variance. And maybe we can bring them back and ask them, and maybe I should have done this earlier, but can they accomplish what they need to with the space that they have without a variance? That's what I'm, right. Right, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Did you hear that comment?
No, I couldn't hear it.
I'm sorry, I said, I think if, I don't know if you heard, I don't know if you heard what Larry said, but, I was thinking that if they moved on this photo right here, that's up on the screen, I'm assuming that everyone virtual can see it.
Mhm.
I think if you move that, the proposed garage over to where the patio is, I don't think they would need a variance. Also, my understanding is there's no basement. Is that correct, Carlos?
That I'm not
I don't
sure.
believe
I
there
can check
is.
with the county record if you.
But
I didn't see it on the county record, but I just,
When you move, if you move the garage like that, you block all their back windows.
yeah, that's.
I think it covers it would be on the patio. Are you inferring to remove part of the patio or put the whole thing where the patio is?
Well, I
And
mean,
then there's no yard. They have to drive around back to pull into a rear entry garage.
Right, there, I don't think the driveway would accommodate that to get around that back addition. It looks like a porch.
Because the van turning radius is very wide. I mean, it would be
Right.
hard, if not, I mean, you're blocking the windows, taking away the backyard, creating a rear entry garage, and then trying to navigate a huge van in a small backyard. I mean, it's kind of ruining the property into the future to do something like that. I would think. I mean, who's gonna want to buy that?
I don't think you could drive around either. With
And then
that,
pull in. Yeah.
I'm just trying to, I'm trying to figure out why they can't move the ceramic studio inside the house and have the garage that's there to actually be functional for some vehicle.
well, he said in the beginning that the garage height, I'm looking at the drawing. It's a smaller garage and I don't think, the van's quite big, tall, and I don't think it can get through this original garage. Even if they used I was thinking she was gonna use that for her own car, but I realized later that they're not even using it as a garage, but I don't think the van could fit in that first garage.
Yeah, that, I mean, things about being able to load and unload with the width that's required for somebody in a wheelchair. You know, most today, you know, current garages that even we build today don't accommodate for that. I mean, it's a specialized type of garage to accommodate for an accessible van.
Yeah, this van is as big as one of those Amazon trucks in terms of height. I've seen the van. It's a pretty large vehicle.
But is that a hardship?
Well, I would think it's a hardship because it's a disability accommodation.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
I mean, if you have a person that has the inability to regulate their own body temperature and have to deal with outside climate, we can't provide a, you know, they desire a path for, you know, health and comfort. That seems to me to be some form of hardship.
Carlos?
Chairman, I'm going to quickly state no, and nor is that identified in their petition application. If we're going to go there, then I would want the city attorney present. This is regarding the property, it has nothing to do with vehicles or heights.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I also have a concern because Ms. Mueller mentioned they want more storage and need more storage space. I don't know, I mean, they're saying that they're gonna use the garage to pull inside, but for all we know, it's gonna turn into a storage facility and the van's gonna be outside.
Well, the storage is to the side, so it doesn't increase the depth of the garage. So if that was removed, we still have the same issue. I think it's just to accommodate the width of this garage. They don't really have any other choice if they were gonna house this vehicle. I just remember the original plan that they were trying to fit 2 cars. So it was this giant, you know, this structure that was really close to the back part of the, you know, the lot line. And they made a pretty big accommodation by cutting this down to 1 garage. And I do understand that this is, you know, the minimum to accommodate the van. It is almost 4 feet over the minimum 20, which, you know, I guess it just depends on whether we see this as a hardship in terms of someone who has to live in a wheelchair and house their vehicle. But if that doesn't qualify, then I don't know where I would stand on that.
Yeah, it does not qualify.
Okay.
Aren't there
So,
other properties in the map? I saw a map where you nearly had no backyard there on the corner of Crabapple. It's like they allowed it to build out just around the corner. I think it was property 36. I don't know that it's, you know, that crazy to be 4 feet over a line when you have other properties that are similarly over the line within the same street.
by the way, you know what, I didn't ask her about the neighbors. Did we get any kind of input from her next door neighbors about this addition?
We received no written correspondence. I do know at the previous meeting, there was one attendee, Mr. Merrick.
Uh-huh.
The hearing was going to be postponed. But after that, there's nobody online, nor was there any written correspondence.
Okay.
I am not aware, it is a public street, so I am not aware of a subdivision association or architectural review board. That's something we wouldn't get involved in for the board.
Property 36 there on the lower left corner.
Mhm.
What I'm getting hung up with again is this under section 401.1650, the area variance. It states an area variance may issue to permit in the building or enlargement of a structure. The specific enforcement of the zoning ordinance would prohibit such construction. The Board of Adjustment may issue an area variance only upon finding that the property is unique in some way. And it is narrow, but is unique. That's why I'm sort of hung up with that, the language of the variance we're looking at.
Do all properties have such a utility easement in their yard? Is that at all unique?
If the question was, do properties have utility easements that run through the backyard? Yes. And the width and size of those easements vary depending on the utility. And those are noted well in advance when the property is purchased. Those are recorded as part of those plots.
But could that, I mean, is that saying it can be considered unique to a property? You know, properties varying in depth, et cetera. Is it possible that, you know, having this utility easement prohibiting certain structures might make you to get creative as they're proposing?
That's a discussion for the board. I mean, all properties generally have easements on them, and they vary all in sizes and shapes depending on the utility provider.
Any other question? I mean, I guess it sounds like, well, I think I have an idea, but I think seeing where it's a hardship, I wish there was something we can do, and I'd love to hear from suggestions from the board to make it happen or not.
I guess they could consider, can that original garage, can that door be removed, and can they build high, you know, can they build that opening higher? I'm not sure what the roof structure entails. I don't know if that can be turned into the van garage or not. He didn't, Brandon didn't go into that,
Right, it can't
or
be-
whoever, the man in the beginning, where they could just build a normal garage in the back and accommodate the width, the variance, I mean, the setback. I mean, I can't see any other option for them.
I can't either, but it can be made high. But I mean, I don't know structurally, but I mean, I know zoning wise, it can.
Well, they could actually just reconstruct the existing garage to fit the things they want to fit in there. You're not gonna be left with a ceramic area and a woodworking area and a bathroom, but it seems to me it could work by taking the existing garage, just taking it down and rebuilding it.
And there could be room in the back to build, you know.
Yeah, it could be a smaller garage in the back.
Right, or the studio, or, you know,
Yeah, everything else you wanted.
yeah, storage, etc.
Now, this garage is built into the house, the original, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess we can ask them if they investigated that option.
Sure.
I'll ask that question. Did you investigate that option?
All right, I need to bring them over, and they did have their hands open. I want to note that the component of the public hearing is closed and all testimony has been submitted, you know, or what would be used as testimony. So these are just specific questions that you're having to them. It's not to continue the hearing. The hearing is
Got it.
closed.
So you were
So,
just asking. You'd like to get.
Brandon Mueller, I'm going to promote you to panelist first and let you ask your question. I think you had your hand up prior, or let the board ask any specific question.
Hi, there we go. Yeah, so there was a number of questions there that I'd like to make sure that I have the opportunity to address. Forgive me, I don't remember quite all of them. First, just from what I recall, changing the height of the existing garage would be a extensive renovation to the home. In addition to that, the current garage is not deep enough for the van to fit in either, even if we did do that. And also, I'm not a structural engineer, but I am a real estate agent of many years. I've sold about $400 million worth of real estate in the St. Louis city and county area. So I've seen a lot of options. And I can tell you from that perspective that changing the existing garage into one that would accommodate this this van would make the property undesirable to many people. Additionally, if we tried to move this garage further into the backyard, it would mostly eliminate the yard altogether, not to mention be extremely difficult to maneuver the van behind the home. I just don't think that that's an option. Also, I don't know if we didn't really get into much detail. You can see on the image of the van on the bottom right of this, just to review. We didn't quite get into a deep explanation of what these lines are, but the illustration that's there in the bottom left of your screen, I think, or at least that's on mine. The van is as far left as it can be as you're backed in, and the circle that's nearest the existing house is exactly the amount of space the wheelchair needs to rotate and get off of the lift. It simply cannot be any slimmer at all. And this would also create a bit of a problem in the existing garage if we were to simply make it taller. There just is no other option, really. Also, the home does not have a basement. It is on a slab. And in regards to moving the studio within the home, we've made some changes to the property to accommodate the wheelchair being able to move through the home, and even an accessible bathroom for Victor to use as well. So we've effectively gone from a 4-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house, and the other bedrooms are quite small. In addition to all the equipment that Victor needs, not just for ceramics, but all the things we need for him medically, we've taken up a lot of the existing storage in the house. So that's why my mother's wanting to have some more storage throughout. Also, I would comment, and I'm not the authority on this, but I would also comment that one of the reasons we never envisioned this being much of an issue are some of these other brand new houses that are built all over our neighborhood in just the small crabapple ones, including the one that was noted on 36, on the very corner. The back of that house sits almost right on the property line. I mean, it's very, very close. There's another garage, detached garage, that's 2 or 3 doors down from my mother's home that sits almost on the back of the lot. The larger homes directly across the street are very, very close to the back of the lots. I don't have the exact measurements, but you could understand why we're struggling to understand why 4 feet that nobody sees and that doesn't get any closer to an actual another residential property affects anybody aside from us. We're struggling to understand why that impedes the safety of anyone in Olivet at all. So we understood that the original plan was, in your words, as the committee, was excessive. And so that's why we've tried to get this as small as we possibly can to make this place functional. Trust me, I have tried to talk my mother into selling this house and just moving somewhere else because of this experience. We've spent a substantial amount of money just going through this process 2 or 3 times with the architects just to try and get this done. And she doesn't want to leave. She wants to stay in the home she's been in for 20 plus years. And I think 4 feet is a reasonable ask, especially considering all the brand new construction that as I see all throughout Olivet and driving through, that it's clear to me that there are some of these instances that are getting variances. So I just, I would hope that we could come to an agreement that 4 feet is reasonable. You know, I just, I'm struggling to understand why we can't agree this is a hardship. Absolutely. And we, you know, anyhow, I'll leave it at that. I know I've said more than you asked me, but if there's any more direct questions, I'd like the opportunity to answer them as well.
Anybody? Other questions? I don't know that I think you did well. All right, thank you.
Sure. Mom.
Okay, Chairman, I'm going to bring over Ms. Mueller and promote her to panelist. And again, the public hearing is closed, so the content that's being entered isn't sworn testament.
I understand.
And there.
I don't think we need to bring.
She had her hand up.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Ms. Mueller?
I'm sorry. I just realized I had the mute on. I apologize. I guess our we just truly believe that we don't want to leave here, but if we can't, you know, if we can't, you know, make this a functional space for us where we can move in and out of the house, well, it's making this very difficult for us. That's all I want to say. We just want to continue living here and being able to function as best we can.
Thank you.
With joy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. So do we want to put it to a vote? You guys have anything else to say, or would you like somebody like to make a motion and we see what's up?
Is the
Anybody?
motion already?
Chairman, I'll note that a motion, of course, anytime that the board makes a motion, it should be in the affirmative to grant the appeal as requested. After that, any amendments can be conducted if the board wishes to do so. Those amendments are voted on individually, and then you would be voting on the motion, whether it as submitted or as amended. You do need 4 votes to authorize a variance request. Again, you would be authorizing a specific property. This is to deal with property, a specific property, granting a waiver from that property having to meet the code criteria that are required for that district.
And just, I mean, I kind of want to know where everyone's at, but I just know it is not a hardship to grant this variance, but that's up to you guys' decision.
I guess,
I'd put the motion forward to approve the variance.
would you read it? Adrian?
Sure, let me,
Mr. Hartman, I'll put it on the
can't find
monitor. 1 second, sir, because you didn't get a packet. 1 second, sir. The motion will be the lower part of the slide.
I'd like to put forth the motion to grant a 7.36-foot variance to the required rear yard setback under section 400.260 for the property at 29 Crabapple Court to permit the construction of an addition as illustrated in the plan dated August 25th, 2021, prepared by Jeff Day and Associates LLC, 16.64 feet from the north rear yard property line.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
All right, Chairman Adrian Hartman, Board Member Hartman made the motion, and Board Member Weber seconded the motion.
Who's gonna
Next.
call it?
I'll go ahead, sir. On a roll call vote, Mr. Weinstock, Ms. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Hartman,
Yes.
Mr. Cicero,
Yes.
and Chairman Gerstein.
No.
The motion passes as requested. The next step in the process would be for the petitioners to, the petition would then be submitted to the board of, the city's Planning and Community Design Commission. They will be involved in reviewing the aesthetics and the architecture of the design. That meeting will be probably scheduled at their November 18th scheduled meeting. All right, Chairman, that's all I have.
Do we have any old business we need to discuss?
No, sir.
Beautiful. I would call the meeting adjourned. Hey, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
9:09.
Thank you.
Thank you all.